Hey there, I'm going to share with you guys some stuff that I have found on my own time and research. This is going to be in regards to a lot of information that's getting misconstrued. Places like Charity Navigator, GuideStar, places like that, they have questionable methods for determining their ranking and how money gets to people in need. So I just decided to do it for myself and see, according to the American Red Cross and their own tax information, where this money panned out, what I could find out, and what might be missing. So I'm going to direct your attention to what I have discovered to our board. So this is going to be information for fiscal year 2016 for the American Red Cross, and that is based in Washington, D.C., not the International Red Cross out of Switzerland. So this is going to be information on their website on redcross.org publications for 2016. And this is on their 990 tax form. I have printed out all 80-something pages, and I have them here. So this ran from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th of 2016. Okay, so we're going to break this down. The total revenue that they say that they had for that fiscal year is $2.6 billion with a B. And these are the sources of income. Program services is 72%. That's $1.8 billion. Now, most of that over here, you can see, comes from biomedical products and services to $1.7 billion. Other products and services would be $132 million, okay? Now, contributions and grants, that's 24% of their revenue, which is $637 million. That does include $51.9 million in government grants from the taxpayers, okay? Investment income of $82 million is 3% of their revenue, and other revenue, which is just in several different small little categories, totals up to $19 million, okay? Again, all of this is verifiable on their own 990 forms available on their website. I did not just randomly get these numbers, okay? So now let's look at their total expenses. This is where donors get concerned. The average citizen starts to raise an eyebrow at very large groups, okay? None of us mind a lot about where the money comes from. What bothers us is where it goes, okay? So they had a total expenses of $2.6 billion. Now you'll notice they spent more than they brought in revenue. So salaries, other compensation, employee benefits, that is $1.4 billion with a B. This is on the front page of their 990 form. That is 53% of their total expenses and 54% of their revenue. Now that number does not include two other sources of employment that are listed as paid independent contractors. They also paid $11.9 million to a company called Teletech Services Corp. That is a call center that is based in Colorado. So they pay the call center employs these people. Also, they paid another $11.2 million to Adecco Employment Services, who of course is then directly paying the actual employee. So if you add that to what they claim that they sent out specifically from their own payroll, that comes up to $1.4 billion as well. So now it's up to 53.6% of their total expenses. We're at 55% of their revenue. Now, normal business practices say that you should never go 30% or more to your payroll, okay? 30% of your revenue, that's a lot, especially when you have to cover all your other expenses, okay? But even for nonprofit groups, hitting a number of 55% of all your revenue going to humans that are in employment services, that's very questionable. So then we're going to jump down here to a number that they list on their tax forms, but I cannot verify through a breakdown of how they got this number. They put on their 990 form that they had a total expenses for domestic disaster services of $308 million. That's million with an M. Okay, so that's 11.5% of all their expenses sent to disaster areas. That's 12% of their revenue. If you want to look at this and say, well, they're giving the money that's being donated specifically to the disasters. Okay, let's go to the contributions right here. If we look at how much of that percentage it's only 48% of the contributions that were given to those disaster areas, many times very specifically. So again, there is still no real concrete evidence that they're giving 90% or 91% of every dollar to the disaster areas and people in need, okay? This is their numbers. This number, the 308 million, as the Red Cross did point out to myself in a reply to me, they will even gladly tell you that this 308 million that was designated as disaster services, that does include salaries of management in key positions. So this 308 million was not given directly, to the people in need. That includes a lot of things like travel and, yes, salaries for certain employees, which with the Red Cross is quite high for many positions, okay? So now we're going to go down here. This is called fees for services, non-employees, okay? So these are services they pay out to individuals to do other things that are not necessarily on their payroll. You have legal, accounting, management, lobbying, and other, to the tune of 226 million. So that's an additional 8% of their expenses and 9% of their total revenue. So when you add these services with the other employment numbers, the total that was paid out for fiscal year 2016 to admin and human overhead, that is 1.6 billion with a B. That is 62% of all their expenses. That is 63.5% of their total revenue. Now, I have nothing to gain but knowledge from doing this. The reason that I did this is because I wanted to help with Harvey. We did not have a good feeling when we were told all we could do is send money. That raised an eyebrow. So I started immediately doing my research along with another gentleman and created another charity group. We don't have any filings, but we loaded vehicles with items, took them directly to areas that were not receiving anything from FEMA or the Red Cross. So we did our own part to help those in need that we could, but we were not going to just send them money. And now I know why I had a bad feeling about this. So if you're looking to send money to these people who need it, if you're looking to send help to them, Puerto Rico, Texas, Florida, Mexico, look a little closer to where your money goes. Look at charity groups that are out there, faith-based, non-faith-based. There's plenty of them out there. If they have real tax filings, you can go and see for yourself and do the math for yourself. Stop just taking people's word for it. There's too many people on the ground pointing this stuff out, and photos coming back, testimony from eyewitnesses who are seeing sketchy services happen. So go look for yourself and you will find these numbers to be true. If you can prove to me that these numbers are not correct, then we have a situation of tax fraud, because these are the numbers directly from their own tax filing on the 990 form. So by all means, if you can prove these numbers are wrong, please do so. I am sure the IRS would find that very, very interesting. Thank you.